has this dangerous and humiliating problem. These notorious landfills, they tower over the skyline. They have collapsed and killed people, a national eyesore, really. And they came up with what they thought was an innovative and cutting-edge solution to create this waste-to-energy plant. It takes up to 3,000 tons of Delhi's garbage every single day, and it burns it. And it produces electricity, which is super important because it's a power-hungry nation. But what we found is that a mixture of corporate cost-cutting and a lack of government regulations turned what was supposed to be a green project into anything but an environmental solution. This plant is exposing up to 1 million people in the heart of Delhi to an acute health crisis through its emissions into the air around it and the toxic ash that it's dumping in residential neighborhoods. The plant opened in 2012 with the Jindals, one of India's most powerful families. In our 5-year investigation, we spoke to many residents who complained of coughing up phlegm that was black, coughing fits that would leave them in tears, boils on their hands, being unable to type at their computers because the boils would just burst. Another thing that we'd heard from a gynecologist who had been working in that area since 1999, she said that she saw the highest rate of miscarriages that she's ever seen before. The anecdotal evidence, as strong as it was, we still needed science to back us up. So we spent years collecting about 150 samples. We had this tested by some of New Delhi's premier science labs. We brushed the soot off a car and took it to the lab. It popped for cadmium 4 times higher than the EPA's own threshold. This is considered to be one of the most toxic chemicals known to man. And that was the same ash that was covering the playground just right next door. We stood on the playground and watched this truck come by with all of this ash billowing into the kids' faces. So what we found was that the government, in multiple reports over the years, had told the plant, you are not dumping your ash correctly, you're not monitoring emissions, and we have found you emitting very toxic chemicals into the atmosphere. The plant was emitting 10 times the amount of dioxins that it was allowed to emit. Dioxins are one of the key ingredients in the notorious herbicide, Agent Orange, that the US military used in Vietnam. But yet, year after year after year, very little was done about it. This federal government of India is considered to be one of the most friendly governments to industrial families like the Jindals. What we have seen is that the current Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is very much lock in step with some of the powerful members of the Jindal family. So the Indian government has doubled down on this plant, actually. It's considered this plant to be a model of what all waste-to-energy plants should look like. The Jindal Group just recently put up their second waste-to-energy plant. These things can be done with the right precautions in a safe way. But what you saw was that instead of the top-notch waste-to-energy technology the plant had promised, what we have is an open pit garbage fire, billowing all sorts of nasty chemicals across the capital.